Welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. I recently went on a beach fishing expedition down to the West Somerset coastline. And when you go down there, anything can happen. They've got some great fishing grounds. Here's Paul to tell us something about the area on our first little session. Whee!
This is Porlock Bay, on the point of near Minehead and Bosington. We're fishing in behind the cottages at Porlock, because up on the point, as we go up there, there's a big kelp bed that runs right along, and this goes into a sandy bay here, and it's a bit snaggy, so we have to go a bit heavier in gear.
Are you out on sand at all at low water there? Is it?
Low water, we're on sand. As the tide comes in, we're on the rocks. It's a very nice place to fish. Sometimes it can be very awkward, depending on the weather, but that's like all fishing.
And what's a good sort of wind direction, and what's a bad direction here?
The best wind we can have is southerly or southwesterly, and that's behind us, coming across the top of the hills. North and northwesterly and easterly is the worst, like anywhere really.
What about tides, Paul? Big tides, small tides for this sort of Somerset coast?
Well, I prefer to fish fairly big tides, between 10.5 and 12 metre tides. I think that way you've got a bit of depth of water at low water as well, and it comes in a lot quicker, so you're not sitting around waiting all the time.
Yeah.
And I think it pushes the fishing more.
So species to get through the year. I mean, we're here in the summer, obviously we're hoping for smooth hounds.
Smooth hounds today, dogfish, and maybe an odd ray.
Yep.
In the winter, you've got like conger, codlin, and you've got bullace as well here in the summer. Codlin, bass, they all run through here, and it is quite a good place to fish.
It's known as a good mark then?
It is a good mark, but you lose a lot of gear.
Okay. High water, what sort of distance you can have to, to avoid it, or can you barely avoid the rocks?
80 to 100 yards. You might just get over the rocks.
Yeah.
Depending on the size of the tide, of course. I mean, if you've got a smaller tide, a 10 metre tide, you probably get over the top of it all the time. As you go up, as the tides build, it's harder to get over the top of it.
To reach it, yeah.
And then you use rotten bottoms,
yeah,
which, as you know, are just a light line on the end of the lead, and lose the lead and just pull it, break it out.
Get your gear back, get the terminal rig back.
Get your terminal rig, you lose your lead.
Yeah.
So any rubbish leads, this is the place to bring them.
And anybody, say beginners of that, might not be the best place for a beginner to come, except at low water maybe?
Maybe low water, right up near the stakes, because about 30 or 40 yards out there's a sand bay that goes out, and it goes out right the way through. But up this end, I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner. I find these rods ideal for me because I'm not a real strong person, but the Zipflex 50/50 I find very well. I've got heavier reels on today because we're in a bit of rough ground. I've got a Slosh HSA on one and a Saltus on the other, both loaded with 20 pound F1 line with Sakuma shot leader and Sakuma hook length.
What size hook have you got there?
I've got a 2.0 on the top and a 3.0 on the bottom. But if I put a squid bait out, I might go to 4.0, depending on what else I mix with it.
Just one big single?
No, two.
Still a pennel?
Yeah, pennel rig all the time. Because that way, if I get anything, I'm going to pull out of it. Pull out of these snags or whatever. Because the fish comes up, the lead comes down, and it'll just break it out. But that's only if I've got a rotten bottom on. If not, then
good night, Vienna.
Yeah.
Lots of the Somerset beaches are boulder strewn. For some reason they really are. They're not necessarily all snaggy, because at the bottom end of the boulders you can run onto a lot of stretches of sand there. So you need to really be able to give it a good old lump out, or fish at low water. If you fish at low water, then obviously that gives you the option of casting straight onto clean sand. You need to ask for local advice. They will tell you which are the low water marks and which are the high water marks. There's a huge difference in not just catching fish, but also in getting snagged up. That's what you don't want. Here we go, first fish coming in for Paul, and yes, it might only be a humble dogfish, but a dogfish is still a fish. And down there, if you don't want them for eating, put them back. That's the way it should be.
You get a variety of species here down at Porlock Weir, but today we're going to target a smooth hound, and for fishing for smooth hounds I like to use peeler crab, fresh or frozen. I don't think it makes any difference. Some people prefer frozen or live. It's a little difference really, but handy tip though for baiting up crab. Obviously when you've got the sort of crab, they're when you sort of cut them up and put them on, they go a bit sort of unequal, and you get with a lumpy bait and it wobbles in the air. So for bait presentation, I like to use these baiting tools. Real nifty little thing. Costs a couple of quid from all decent tackle shops, and it's just absolutely just aids the casting and the presentation on your thing. If I show you quickly how I bait up with one of those, I've got the crab here, which I've shelled. I've left the legs on because you really don't need to bother taking the legs off for the smooth hounds. In fact, it's a bonus because the dogfish can be put off by it, but not all the time. You can see there I sliced my crab nearly all the way through. As you can just see, I just cut the crab halfway through, or just over halfway through. I'm going to bend it out like that. You'll see the reason why. Bend it out, and I'm going to get this needle. You can see the sharp end of the needle, or the baiting tool, and just put it in here and nick it in, slide it on there. So he's, theoretically he's kebabbed really. Then I like to get a claw, get hold of the claw, get the shell out. Sometimes you might need a stone to just break it open if one's a little bit harder. Just using up the bits of claw really to bulk your bait up. Now I like to get the claw, can give a visual as well. You can see we've got the little tiny claws there, and just lay that and fill in any gaps to make it sort of a more unequal bait. What I like to do then is just get me a bait elastic and just give it a few turns just to get it onto the needle, and then pull it off. Right, once he's on there, that's just to hold it in place. I now then get my hooks, which are in this case is a 3/0 Pennell Mustard Viking hooks, which are absolutely perfect for fishing around here. I get the hook and I'll just push it in there, manipulate it in and twist it through. At this point, see this circle here, just put the hook in the circle, so he's clipped in there. Now I can hold this along there, the line, get the elastic and just elasticate the whole crab onto the hook. Legs and all, the whole lot. Crunchier the better. 15, 20, even 30 turns. Put it in like that. And at this point, that's on there. Just want to pull this out of here and then slide it off. That's it. The crab is on it. You could use a single hook. To be fair, that'd be fine. But you can see I'm using the hook as almost like to hold the bait on, and the top pennel is going to go in like so. So it's almost hair rigged style. So you've got one hook to hold the bait on, and a top hook proud on the top there. And 9 times out of 10, that's the hook hooked on. And there we go.
flat calm conditions like this and a blazing blue sky might be what the non-angler thinks of as an absolute fishing paradise, but unfortunately it's not. It can make for very difficult, fishing conditions, and it might even, in clearer water, push those fish a lot further out. Down here in the Bristol Channel, it's coloured water. There's always some sediment that's come down one assumes through River Severn, and the strong tide effects, they stir up the sand on the bottom and they keep what I call silt in suspension. That's what it is. And there's always a bit of cloud in the water, and I'm sure that does work to your advantage. The fish will come in close there. Nevertheless, being able to get that rod out a long way, get that bait out a long way is pretty much important, as is winding in fast like a demented maniac as I am here. If you can crank in as fast as you can, it makes the lead rise up off the seabed, therefore over the top of the boulders, and you should get all your gear back. You can also use something called a lead lift, which will also, it's like a vein that can actually get that lead up off the bottom, and you definitely want to be using the pulley pennel rig. And here you go. I bet this is a pulley pennel that Craig is on. Paul's going to go down and get the fish. Yes indeedy, it's a real nice smooth hound, our target species on a difficult day.
There we go, a bit of perseverance. Been a bit slow this afternoon, but got there in the end. Just a single smooth hound. Real gentle little tapping bites. Thought it was a dogfish, and it wasn't until it was about 30 yards out it sort of woke up. So bit of a result really.
Crab?
Yeah, fresh crab, the smallest crab that I could find really. That was all which was left actually after the weekend, a little tiny one. So proves they all catch whatever size they are.
And just on the top of the tide, that one, Craig?
Yeah, it's literally 15 minutes before high. So yeah, it's not bad.
Good fish. It was the proverbial last cast of the day on a 3-line squid, and I wondered why it was round to the right, and there we go. Not a bad pollock. And Craig had actually mentioned about using feathers here for pollock, hadn't you, Craig?
I had, yeah.
You did say about that. It's
quite
the other
good.
line. It's probably something on that one as well.
It's quite good to
But
find
look
a
at that.
spare rod and just feather up a few pollock.
That's what I was using. Just free lining a whole squid, little short trace, swivel there, some 50-pound mono, and the whole squid, and came up with a last cast fish. Anyway, beach quest is not over. We're going to try another mark as we always do. We've moved on, so you know, we've seen dogfish, nice smooth hound by Craig, pollock here, which I'm going to put back, and tomorrow is another day. We're going to see if we can find another beach spot.
Well, having done our first little part and had a successful trip under difficult bright conditions, we were down at, well, not far away really, as the fishing goes, just another beach, plenty of anglers on there, St Albans Bay Holiday Park. A great spot. And just look at this, nearly caught a Jack Russell on that lugworm. He likes to look at that. He also likes to look at the waves. Well, don't we all, it's fun, but no, second day, totally different, weather front coming in, still sunshine, big chop on the water. Will he put the fish down or not? Not normally.
worth the move to a high water mark after fishing low water. It was getting a bit hit or miss with the tide coming in the rock, so we've moved up here to TAOUTDOORS Bay. It's a good move actually, because we've had a couple of bites. I think you've had a dogfish, haven't you? And,
Yeah, had a doggy, yeah.
Second cast on a whole squid, I've got a small thornback ray, which my son Cody's got.
Have you ever caught those before, Cody?
Once.
I think you caught one, didn't
He's
you,
had one before, has he?
on the boat, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a nice fish. But you would have liked to have caught it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Are you going to put it back in the water for us?
Yeah.
Yep. Go on then, let's go and put him back then. You want to put him on his belly, don't get your feet wet. No, I'm on his belly, just put him all down.
Other way out.
Okay. That's it.
You should be able to go. Throw it.
Don't get booty.
Don't get your feet wet.
There we go, guys, following on from Craig's catch, that nice ray he had. I've got another nice dogfish there. So the fish, even though it's rough here, definitely on the bite. Paid us to move. I'm going to get him unhooked and I'm going to get him in the water so I can get that bait back out there. This one took a half a squid, so they're on the feed, they're taking small baits and they're taking big baits.